Hello guys, Gene here with G Squared Tactical. I first wanted to show you, because I'm going to talk about something with this Mete Pro here, so I just wanted to kind of show you this mechanic or mechanic or however they say that. That's the way that it's spelled anyway. This optic that Canik makes, we zeroed it on this rival blackout and it seemed to do fine. It held zero as long as we shot the gun. The glass seems clear enough. It's a nice dot on there. And the reason I bring this up, or the reason I show you guys this, is because I really wanted to. Now, we have been kind of looking for this gun. It is safe, it's unloaded, no magazine. We had been kind of looking for this gun since its inception, since they said that it had been released. And we couldn't find it anywhere. And so I know people tell us all the time, well, you're late. Well, you know, we don't get free guns from the gun manufacturer, so we have to search and go to store and do some of the same things that you guys would have to do, and a lot of times overpay in order to try to get them up in a timely manner. So we'd been looking for this gun for a few months and finally was able to find one at a brick and mortar store that we frequent, and I wanted to buy another mechanic optic to put on this gun, because one of the things that we kept hearing about it is that you could co-witness, you could flush mount, or it came with plates that would allow you to co-witness with your optic. So I thought, well, you know, Canik, they make that optic, surely to God they would want to market their own optic. They would make a gun that would receive their optic. And I'm sure there's probably a plate that exists that would, you know, raises it up, that has a little screw in the side of it, or the thread, should I say, the female threads where you can screw in the little handle to rack your slide back, which is pretty cool. I don't know. It's not in this box, right? And none of the plates that came in this box, which I believe it was only two, I know it was, would allow me to mount that optic on here. So originally, I'll have Trey put a picture up. I had the Romeo Never Zero on there, and with the one with the nice metal shroud around it, kind of gave it a little bit of a meaty, bulky look, and it didn't look too bad, and it did co-witness fairly decently, and I'm sure that it would probably zero and it would do okay. But as you know, we're just not huge fans of that optic. So I was reading on Canik's website, and about halfway down the page, I saw this little spot in the middle that was highlighted, that said that the Trijicon RMR-CC was made, or rather maybe the Canik was made for it, I'm not really sure, to flush mount on this slide and give you the co-witnessing with the factory optic, or sight, should I say. So I want to take a minute to talk about that. Now, when this RMR-CC first came out, RMR-CC, which I believe stands for concealed carry, supposed to be less narrow, or I'm sorry, it's supposed to not be as bulky. It's a lot more narrow, a little bit longer than the typical Trijicon RMR. It's supposed to be more, not quite a micro, but it's supposed to fit more flushly, more uniform, and be a little less, or a little low profile, so that you can more easily conceal carry this optic, right? So when I looked online, realized that initially when this thing was released, it was up around $600. It's insane. And so, and the fact that they were lowering the price, and the price had came all the way down to like $424. They were offering up until September the 30th a $100 mail-in rebate, which tells you a lot about the fact that people just weren't liking this optic. They weren't selling it. I was fortunate enough to get in on the $100 rebate, so I'll be in for about $325 plus tax on this optic, which is probably still a little bit too much. Now, I'm sure that this optic will be just fine. It probably will have the same great reputation, reliability of any other Trijicon. It looks good on the gun. It does mount very well on there, and I was indeed able to flush mount it to the slide. Now, with the co-witnessing thing, I mean, like, seriously, you can just barely, I would not even call that a lower 1/3, you can barely pick up that front sight over top of the rear of this optic. Now, so I guess technically Canik was correct. Yes, you can co-witness this by flush mounting it to the slide. We'll just leave it at that. That's what I have up here. I have not got to shoot this gun yet, so I don't know how that's going to work out. Hopefully we'll get to the range pretty soon here, and we'll be able to give you some details about how it worked out. Anyway, so let's get to talking about the gun. So when I first saw it, if it would not have had this 1/2 by 28 threaded, fluted, chrome plated barrel, I think that's what they say. If it would not have had that in there, I probably would have had a hard time distinguishing it from the dark side that I have here. Very, very similar in looks, right? Yeah, very, very similar. I mean, just upon initially looking at it. But one of the first things you will notice is that chrome plated, threaded, fluted barrel. Okay, it is very sexy on there. These little cutouts on each side is a little smaller than the cutouts on the Rival Blackout. Also the cutout on the top is a little bit shorter. It's not quite as long as the cutout on top of the SFX Rival. So that's the thing that stood out. I seen the chrome plated barrel in there, and you know, it stood out. It's got sex appeal. It looks really, really good. This is a standard thread, so you will be able to put your 9mm suppressor on there. You won't have to get any type of adapters or anything like that. I think maybe with some of the older Caniks you might have had to. It might have been the opposite thread. I'm not totally sure about that, but that is one of the first things that you will notice. Now, in order to keep the price down on this, they do have now a 90-degree break polymer trigger, and I don't think that that is going to lower the quality. I think that it'll be just fine. It keeps the price down, and as hard as this might be to believe, I did not think that Canik could make a better trigger than what they already had, but I believe they did. I don't even know how that's possible, but that'll be one of the things that literally everyone will talk about when talking about this gun. You get down to the trigger and you're like, are you kidding me? Like, how awesome is this trigger? It is a very, very small amount. I mean, well, I wouldn't say. It's about average amount of take up. When it hits the wall, it's a very predictable break. And I mean, it just so crisp and like, that trigger just stops. There's no over travel, and the reset on that trigger, I don't know. It's right there with the 1911. In fact, a 1911, sorry about that, a 1911 may not even have as good of a trigger as this. Maybe not. Anyway, so it does have a tritium filled front sight on this gun. Now, that's not something you would see on the Rival Blackout. It does have the fiber optic red. I believe it may have even came with some green and stuff if you wanted to swap it out, but that is new. It does have the tritium filled front sight here. These are steel sights, they're not plastic sights. It does come with one 18-round mag and one 20-round mag. With the extended base plate here, it does come with some base plates. I believe the one that was in here was plastic or polymer, and it does have this metal one that you can change out to if you should want to do that. It does come with the speed loader. As I mentioned, it comes with the 2 plates. It does come with the inside, outside the waistband holster, and all of the little tools and neat little things that you're accustomed to getting with the Canik. It does have the ambi slide lock here. I really like that. I really like. Some people say that that's gawky looking. I really like it. Very easy to manipulate. You know, I'm a snob about being able to manipulate controls without adjusting your grip. It does have those sweet little extender, or if you wanted to make it shorter with your mag release here, that a simple 1 torque screw, take it off, change it, make it shorter, make it longer, whatever best suits you. Does come with the flared mag well here. Now, when I got this gun, it's kind of odd. It was already on there. The other Caniks that I had bought here, I actually had to install that flared mag well, And I don't know what happened there. Other people said that theirs was off and they had to put it on there. But this was already on there. But again, it's just another little set screw or little screw in the back here that you just take the screw out, slide it forward. If you don't want it, that's great. Don't have to be on there. It does, of course, have the interchangeable back straps. I'm wanting to say that it only came with 1 or 2 extra. It didn't come with all of the 3 or 4 like you was accustomed to seeing on some of the earlier versions of this gun. Let's see. It does have the angled rear sight ledge. I'm not so sure that that was the case on the rival, which of course you lose your rear sight with the optic anyway. But that will make it easier. Of course, I have an optic on here, so it doesn't really matter. So I would use the optic if I needed to one hand manipulate this. But if you did not put the optic on here, and you would be able to use the rear sight with that. Again, it did come with 2 optic plates. I know I've already mentioned that. One of them does not, unfortunately, does not fit the mechanic optic, or if you say you have one that does, I guess mine just didn't come with that one because it would not line up at all. It just would not work. It has the loaded chamber indicator up here at the top of the barrel. I don't know exactly how that's going to work out. I don't know if that's going to allow oils or GSR to get on the glass of my Trigicon. I hope not. The reviews we just recently done on the Prodigy, we had a peephole back here at the back of the barrel, and I kept getting oils and stuff on my glass. So I hope that doesn't happen here. But again, we haven't got to shoot this yet. But it does have that traditional red loaded chamber indicator that you're accustomed to seeing on the rival. That, well, I'm sorry, the Canik. I don't know why I said rival. I guess because I was picking this up. Actually, the Canik rival does not have that. It's kind of weird. Some of the older versions of the Caniks I have, they have that. Even my SC compact SC, my Canik SC. I'm messing my words up today, saying Canik too many times in a row. Anyway, it does have the loaded chamber indicator up there. It does have the nice 3-slot pick rail here. The front of the trigger is serrated, just like you see on the rival. And it does, like I said, comes with the toolkit and everything like that. You can mount just about any types of flashlights up here that you want to. I have several different types. Streamlight, I have the Surefire. They all seem to mount up here. Some of them came back closer to the trigger guard than others. But with the 3-slot there versus say like 1 or so on the Glock, you do have the option of mounting various different lights and lasers on this gun. So the total weight on this gun was, I'm sure this is unloaded and without the optic, come in at 1.9 pounds. It is a synthetic frame with an overall length of 8.9, overall height of 5.7, and an overall width of 1.4 inches, and an MSRP somewhere around $659. I think that I paid $619 plus tax for this gun, and with all of these sweet cutouts and serrations on the front, I mean, honestly, you don't even need the front serrations on here. In my opinion, it's easier to manipulate with these little beveled out areas here on the front of the slide. But all of this, not only does it look cool, but it also gives you the ability to manipulate the slide in many various different ways. But it also cuts down on weight, so of course that's going to make it more carryable. It's going to make it funner to shoot, more accurate, all of those things. Again, there is, let's see, the mag release is swappable for your lefties, so I know that's another reason why Trey's a big fan. You do have your little thumb rest here on the side. If you're a thumbs forward kind of guy, you do have that. Again, it looks like that is still something. I mean, again, very, very similar. The frame texture and everything is very similar. The trigger guard does have a nice undercut here. It does have a cutout, or I guess I don't know what you would call that, almost like a beveled out area on the very bottom of the trigger guard. Don't know how much that'll help me, but this undercut here certainly will. Canik guns have always felt fantastic in the hand. There are others that feel great in the hand as well, but the trigger on this gun is what really brings this gun home. We hope that you enjoyed watching this video today. I'm sure there's things that you might want to tell us about this that maybe we left out. We love to hear from you. That's how we all learn. It's how we all know about these different guns. Make sure that you comment. We like to get back with everyone. We always do. We always comment with you guys, good, bad, or indifferent. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And again, thanks for watching today. Have a blessed day.